So giving everybody a chance to get in. All right, so today's going to be all about kind of like we talked about, just going over whatever you guys want to see more of or have explained more in depth about anything we've talked about this semester. So yeah, so the floor is just mainly going to be open, and we will go over whatever it is you would like to discuss. So I guess I will open the floor. What's going on? What would y'all like to know about?
Dr. D, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So you know how we have the exam and then all the Cengage work is due tomorrow. Are you going to extend the date for the Cengage work, or we have to get it all done by tomorrow?
So the Cengage homework should be due Sunday night.
I think mine said the second.
Wait.
So the second is should be test number 4.
Dr. Dean, it was home, but I think you had put homework grades in yesterday, didn't you?
So this is something that yeah, I got a lot of emails about, and I kind of discussed in class. I was told that I have to put everybody's grades in, even though like you guys are obviously asking, not everything has been due yet. So this was one of those things that I was instructed to do, so I did, even though I disagreed with what the idea was. But
you have to put a grade in because you didn't have a grade in all semester, right? That's what they made you do.
Yeah, basically. And this is one of the things that has been causing so much backup in my life right now is they want they wanted me to do that because apparently students don't know where they don't know what they're staying on their homework, even though you guys get your homework grades back as soon as you do it. So you know where you're at on your homework. Or I mean, same thing with tests. The test grades are listed right there as soon as you're done with it. And I mean, you can go back and look it up. And so a lot of I don't know. Same thing with like test number 3. There's some people who haven't taken test number 3 yet, and that is up. And the fact that I do some forgiveness stuff at the end that I can't reflect in the grade book on e-learning, like basically dropping lowest test grade, and so the grades that are on WebAssign are indicative of a download that I did last weekend. So they are not due. Like the due dates and everything that's in WebAssign are correct, but they said I needed to upload everybody's grades. So I did. So that's the main situation with all of that. But yeah, so you are you have good questions about that, and I agree that that is a valid question to have. But that's the situation with it. Is I was informed I needed to add a grade to e-learning so that you could see where you're at, and that's everything that I have compiled from that was turned in whatever through last Sunday. So yeah, and doesn't include like dropping lowest tests and any curving or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, does that answer your question about the due date stuff? Because the due date has been the day before finals for a while now. Let me just check something. So do I have any seniors in here that are graduating? Because the final is going to be going up shortly. Like I said, that grading stuff has been, I'm having to do that for all my classes. And so I'm having to go through, do this big process of calculating everything, even though the calculation is likely just not right at all for most people. But this is how it works. So let's see. So yeah, the stuff that's due 5/2 is test number 4. I'm sorry, test 4. So where's my share button? So this stuff that's due 5/2 is test number 4, and then everything else is due Sunday night at midnight. And this test number 3 is, like I said, there were some people that apparently missed test number 3 because they weren't, they were having internet troubles or a range of different situations. So I added a last chance test to that. If you would like to take it, you are welcome to give it another shot, even if you already, took test 3 and, back when it was current, that chance is open to whoever wants it. So, yeah. Okay. So is that what you were talking about? This stuff that's due Saturday?
So we can't go back and do old homework assignments.
I'm sorry?
So we can't go back and do old homework assignments.
Everything is open until
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that these are all your homework assignments for the entire semester. Everything is still available and it has been available. I reopened everything right after the break, after this COVID-19 stuff started. So yes, everything is still available to do until 5/3, which is Sunday night at midnight.
Okay.
The grades that I entered were the grades that I had. I downloaded everybody's grades for all of this stuff and did my calculations on them as per last weekend. So I got some emails from some people saying, but I've done most of it. How can I have a 20%? Well, most likely that's because you have been doing them the last week, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. But anything that you've done since I downloaded it will not be reflected. But if you want to know where you stand on your homework average, add up all your points for all the homework assignments and divide by the total number of points of the homework assignments. So, yeah. Okay. All right. What else? So the tests can be about grades and stuff, or they can be about, something you don't understand for homework or a test section. I mean, this is pretty open right now as to what you can ask about. So I would use the time. Let's see.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
It's from the test. It says evaluate expressions, and
Yeah.
I don't understand. So can you do an example, please?
Okay. So So to evaluate an expression, it just means plug in this thing for the variables. So if I were to evaluate this for x equals 5, what would I get?
3 times 5 plus 7.
Yeah.
So the answer would be 22.
That is correct. So evaluating an expression just means plug in the numbers and simplify it, do all the operations until you get a final answer kind of thing. So is that what you're wanting to know about? Like, I guess I need to understand the context a little bit better.
The question was like parentheses, and they have like a 2, 3, 3, and then like a 7 on top of it in parentheses.
I guess I don't. You mean like that?
Yes, like that.
Yeah. So this was with the stuff we talked about with the other one that people had questions about was A, P, B.
Oh, so it's the same way?
It's similar. It's very close. So do you remember what this one was?
Isn't that factorials?
Yeah, so these are both linked to the factorial stuff.
Okay.
And it's A factorial over A minus B factorial. Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, y'all could write this down. You can look it up. It's in the book. It's, I mean, look up. This is called the binomial coefficient. Is the technical name. But it has a. This comes up. These two come up a lot in math. Actually, I'm sorry. This one is the binomial coefficient. So they come up a lot everywhere, but in the stuff that we talked about, it was all about probabilities or possibilities. So I'll get to that in a second, I guess. So this one, like I said, is very similar. It's A factorial over B factorial A minus B factorial. So the only difference between this one and this one is this one has that extra little B factorial on it. But it's all about choosing things. It's permutations and combinations. So the one that we're most used to is this one. This is all about, let's say we have a 4-digit combination, or let's say 5-digit. So how many can you make without repeating a digit. So how many different 5-digit combinations can you make without repeating a digit? The way we solved this at first was I talked about like slots, I think is the word I used, and then options for those slots. So how many slots would this problem have?
5.
5. Yeah, because there's 5 things that can happen. So I'm out of room here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. How many options are there for the first thing?
5.
Not 5.
1.
10.
10.
I'm about to see double it.
Well, it's not about doubling it. It's 0 through 9. You can put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 10 different options. What about for the second slot? How many options are there for that?
9.
Why 9? You're
'Cause you
correct,
can't
but why
repeat
9?
You can't repeat it.
You can't repeat. So one of your options is taken away. What about for the next slot?
8.
8. And this continues on down. So this is how we kind of started. And then to find the number of possibilities, you just multiply the number of options in each slot times each other. Well, this happens a lot and it can get pretty involved. So mathematicians created a shorthand for some of these things. What is a factorial of a thing? If you see 7 factorial, what does that mean you do?
7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times.
Yeah, you take the number and then you start multiplying down 1 every time. But you'll have to go all the way to 1. So this looks like a factorial, but it's missing some stuff. It's missing 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And that's where this thing comes in. So if you have a situation where you have a pool of options that you're taking stuff out of, the way you do it is this could be read in our case, options P slots. So the number of options for the essentially for the first slot and the number of slots you have. Well, in our problem over there, how many options were there? What's the highest number of options?
Was it 10?
It's 10, yeah. And what was the number of slots?
5.
Very good. 10 P 5. So the way you write this looks like that. 10 factorial over 10 minus 5 factorial. But what is 10 minus 5?
5.
Yeah. So this becomes 10 factorial over, actually I'll leave that because I don't want it confused. 10 minus 5 factorial. So this is 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. This is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So basically, it cancels out, it cuts this sequence off at this many. Or the other way you could think about it, and this is just because of how it's worded, is you start at this number, and then you write this many multiplied together. So you start at 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. If it was let's do 9 P2. What is that?
It's 9 factorial over 9 minus 2.
Yeah, so you could go to here if you want. But I actually like this way of thinking about it. You're going to put this many slots, and you start here. 9 times 8.
And that's a lot shorter, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, and that's the thing is, this idea works great in this case because we've already got this options and slots thing. That's how we started talking about it. But these two things come up all over the place. So where does this one come in is kind of the question. Well, before I get to that, is everybody okay with this? That you just, it's up to you. You can either use this formula and it's correct every time, or if you're comfortable with it, you can just think about it like that. So where this thing comes in is the same kind of problem. 5-digit combination, how many different ones can you make? So in this case, the combination 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just throwing those out there. Those are different. Those are seen as different because they have the order matters. If the order doesn't matter and you're just saying, okay, how many ways can I pick the same 5 things? It doesn't matter what order. So like if you're like picking for a team, it doesn't really matter how you end up with you, Joe, and Sean or something. It doesn't matter that you picked you, then Joe, then Sean. All that matters is y'all 3 end up together. Then you use this one. So so order of selection does not matter. Order does matter. This is kind of a shorthand for which one to use. So, trying to think of a good quick example for that one. Let's see. So there are 4 people. We're going to say A, B, C, and D. I want to know how many different two-person teams can you pick from person A, B, C, and D? Well, how many slots are there for a two-person team?
2.
2. Okay, so number of two-man teams. All right. So 2 slots. How many options are there for the first slot? How many options are there?
4.
4. And how many options are there for the second slot?
3.
3. So what you might initially think is that there are 12 different ways to pick a two-man team from 4 people. But like we just said, the order doesn't matter. It's not like a combination where it has to be, where it's a permutation where it has to be in order, number 1, number 2, 3, 4, and 5. All that matters is all of those things end up together. So what you end up doing is you divide. So this so far is just a factorial over a minus b factorial. That's what we did down here. But we have to divide by b factorial. So b, again, is the number of slots. So there's actually only 6 ways. Because person A, B, A, C, A, D, person B, C, B, D, and then person C, D. Because BA and AB are the same thing, because we're talking about a team. Just those 2 people are together. So this is the difference. I can say you won't really see much of this on the final. There might be one question, but for this last test, again, if you haven't used up all your attempts, I would suggest thinking about this, because I know this one does appear a good bit on there. But it's like we said, it's the easiest way to remember is the number of options. So if you're talking about digits, then there's 10 options. If you're talking about letters, then there's 26. And then this is the number of slots. Okay. So don't go over applying this though. This is only true like when you're talking about a single pool. If you're talking about like a question where there's like an entree and desserts and appetizers, you can't just say, well, there's 5 different slots: appetizer, entree, dessert, because all of those things are pulling from different sets of options. So you can't just apply it there. But the main thing that happens is this will come up if you're just doing a math problem. Like you said, evaluate this thing. Just plug and play. This is, but if it comes up in a problem, this is the number of options. This is the number of slots those options can go into. Yeah. So ended up being a little rehash of that stuff, I guess. But yeah, your grades will probably be different if you do end up going back and doing more of your homework and everything. They might be a little bit different anyways, just because I usually apply some curving and forgiveness, but don't count on that to, like, you know, change your grade by, you know, 15 points or something crazy. Make sure to get as much of the homework and stuff done as you can. But the final will be going up. I mean, that's all I've been working on this morning. So hopefully in the next, you know, hour or two, but I will send an email out when it does go up. But again, you have until next Tuesday night to do it. So yeah, I mean, you've got plenty of time, and I would honestly probably wait until next week if you can. Like I said, to take it during the day when I'll be ready and waiting for questions. But you don't have to. If you feel confident, you want to take it over the weekend at night, that's fine. But that's my suggestion, I guess. So, all right. Anything else in the last couple minutes? Oh, just saw this 7.4. So,
Dr. Dean, have you already did attendance and all that stuff?
I'm sorry?
Have you did like attendance and all that stuff?
Yeah, so attendance is in, I mean, I've got it. I've been taking it. And when I put it in for the grade, it comes in as participation.
Oh, okay.
And I give you the number of excused absences that you are allowed. I think it's 5 in the syllabus. Because technically you are allowed 5. Is I basically give everybody that. So it is theoretically possible to get a little extra credit if you missed less than that. So yeah, if you, I can't remember what the exact number is. It's like 5 or 6, but I give everybody that many. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
All right. Cool. Well, like I said, I'll be in office 12 to 1 and 2 to 4-ish today. And then I'll be in there all day during the day, not evening. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday probably, just doing paperwork and grading and get everything finalized. So please hit me up if you have any questions or concerns. Otherwise, have a fabulous weekend. We will see you guys next semester. So thanks for having me, and good luck on finals, guys.